welcome and thanks for being with us here at the table. I'm Rachel and today we're going to chat about all things family related. I am here today with these lovely ladies, but don't worry, that doesn't hold them back. This is Rachel, Mary Ellen and Melody. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Good.
Good. You like that? On fire today?
I'm ready.
So today we're going to chat to Daniel Harvey, who founded an eco-friendly company that recycles baby clothes to lessen the footprint we have on the earth. We chat about a mum who's teaching her son how to be a good date at the tender age of 6. And did you grow up to work in the career that you wanted to as a child? What happened to those dreams? But first, back in the 60s, social science researcher Walter Mischel conducted a little experiment that involved preschool-aged children and marshmallows. It's become quite well known, and I think the results still have something to say to us today. Mary Ellen, talk us through this, because this was done a while ago, but there's been some conflicting reports recently.
There has. It's very interesting. This study is obviously very famous. Everybody seems to know about it. But for those who don't know about it, essentially they got a group of toddlers and they sat them down and I think they filmed most of them as well. And they gave them one marshmallow and told them if they could wait for 15 minutes before eating it, that they could have another marshmallow. And so some of the toddlers ate the marshmallow before the 15 minutes was up. But the toddlers that were able to wait for the 15 minutes and got 2 marshmallows, they did a longitudinal study and found that those, when they grew up, they were more likely to be successful, to excel in all kinds of areas of their life. And the whole, I guess the finding was that, delayed gratification equals success. However, they've recently done a follow-up study, I think it was in the 90s, so these kids will be probably about my age now. Yeah. And they found, so basically, they noticed that in the original study, it was a very, very narrow sample size.
Well, it's done at Stanford
University.
With, an elitist group of preschoolers.
Exactly. And so all these people were quite socioeconomic, in a high socioeconomic class. But the follow-up study was a much broader group of people, or toddlers, 900 of them to be precise, from various different backgrounds. And they actually found that delayed gratification didn't have much impact on whether you were successful. It was actually whether your parents had a university degree and whether you were from a higher socioeconomic class or not. And they found that the poorer children would eat the marshmallow because they weren't sure if they were actually going to get food, like further food in the future.
Wow, so trust issues coming into play
there. That's very interesting.
Yes.
I'm very curious, actually. This is a question for you, Rachel, because you actually wrote an article for us in the magazine about how to prepare your child for a successful career, and you referenced the marshmallow test.
I did, yeah.
And you said that is a kind of a good indication, to prep them. What do you feel?
Well, I don't know that the marshmallow test is a good sort of, it's not going to tell you if they're going to have a great career, but it sort of gives you a snapshot into where they are in terms of self-discipline. Okay. And that's sort of one of the areas, like it sort of makes common sense that self-discipline would actually help in success later in life, whether it be health or your career or all sorts of things. And it's one of the attributes as a kid you can sort of teach, like, some kids have a really high IQ and that's fine. That sort of seems to be a natural ability. We don't always, not everyone has that. But self-discipline and delayed gratification is something you can teach to kids, and it's something that's really helpful as you grow, and it makes you more employable. So that's why I referenced it.
I think it's a lot of pressure on kids to think like if you do or don't eat this marshmallow, it's going to be indicative of your success for the rest of all time. Because
hopefully you don't tell them that. Like that's not.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying to say at that young age, if they're not able to control themselves to be able to, eat that marshmallow, it's like this indicator of what they're going to do in the long term.
It's not a doom indicator sort of thing. It's like, okay, that's where my kid is. Like I tested my 4-year-old this last week, and I found it really cute and hilarious. But I sort of was able to predict what I thought she was going to do, and she did. And she did delay it. Oh, you could see her lovingly look at that chocolate. She walked around the table, and then after about 12 minutes, because it was 15 minutes, she sort of resigned herself to a decision, and then she just looked bored waiting for the time. Like, it's a really interesting process to watch how kids handle that dilemma. And I think that's the interesting thing about it.
I don't necessarily think, just coming back to the original study, I don't necessarily think that the follow-up study sort of negated the findings of the first study. And I think if you are in a well-off enough position potentially, that delayed gratification definitely does still, I think you're definitely right, it definitely still has impact. But it'd be really interesting to do maybe a follow-up study and just see, the kids that were in the lower socioeconomic class that did wait versus kids that are in the higher economic class that didn't wait, just to see if there is, I don't know, if it actually does have as big of an impact as we think.
I think they both have to have an impact. Like, the way you're brought up and those
Absolutely,
circumstances, plus some of the skills that you can develop along the way. It's all got to contribute, doesn't it? Look, maybe you've done something like this with your kid at home. Have you tried the marshmallow test? Would you? If you do, jump onto our community on Facebook and let us know. We would love to hear your story. Well, do you remember your first date? What you wore, where you went, how well you were treated, and of course who you went with. But for the large majority of us, that would have been back in our teens or early 20s, so no judgment if you can't remember. But Lyle Drummond is starting a lot younger. This 6-year-old takes his mum on a date every month. Kidspot.com shared the story of how young Lyle works hard for his pocket money and takes his mum to restaurants, opens the door for her, asks her how her day was, pays for the meal from his hard-earned pocket money and tips the waiter. This is a mature little boy we're talking about here. Do you think he's growing up too soon?
No, I think like his mom's obviously teaching him responsibility and like social skills and things like that. I think to make it all around dating though, I think that there's other skills besides just like romantic dating that he's getting out of it, you know? Like just treating people with empathy and just like sacrificing and sharing, you know.
I love that he gets the money out of his own wallet and pays for it. Like, that's so sweet.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, one part of it when I read the story, it's like, oh yeah, it's really sweet. But then at the other end, it's like he's taking his mum out on a date. That's a bit creepy.
You think, really?
What's creepy about it?
What's creepy about it?
It just seems a bit weird. Like, I don't know, like, you know, the whole taking the door, opening the door out. Is that really something that you only do on a date? Isn't it something that you teach them to do in general?
You'd hope that being so young, it would sort of, you know, filter out into the rest of their life, these sort of principles that you're instilling in them.
Yeah, but do they really need to learn about romantic love that early as well?
That is a
know
good
that
point.
Question.
Yeah, I don't know that it's around romantic love. I think that it's just these like kind of social graces and social skills that are kind of lost in society. And I think his mom is teaching. Obviously, it's not a romantic
Respect.
relationship between his mom when they're sitting down going on a date, you know? It's obviously a mother-son relationship. And I think it translates into so many things. My question was, is she giving him a bit of extra money, seen as like she's giving him pocket money and then he's spending that pocket money back on her? Like,
don't know how hard he has to work, don't know how much he gets, but I thought it was really interesting. Is there anything you guys do, like, or that you want to do with your kids to sort of show them how to treat other people in a proactive way, though?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. I think, honestly, it comes back to random acts of kindness and actually being intentional about thinking about who you can help. And I think so often we just get so busy. And most people are very kind people, but actually going out of your way to intentionally think, okay, what am I going to do to help someone today, or maybe this week, or whatever it is. And I've read different articles before about parents that do this with their kids, and just the amazing things that the kids creatively think up that they can do for others. I would really like to do that with my kids when I have them.
I think some of the spontaneous acts, like as you're walking down the street and you see someone who needs something, I think that makes a huge impact on a child. Like if you do buy someone a meal or give them some money when they're asking for it, I know as a child it made a huge impact on me as I observed people giving or not giving. Like it made me think a lot about the way we give. And I think it's easy sometimes to go visit a nursing home, but it's much harder to like be inconvenienced when someone's asking you for something on the side of the street, you know?
That's very true. I sort of really appreciated, and I'm just going to jump back a bit to what you were saying about the dating and the romantic thing. And I really appreciate where she came from, because she said she came from an abusive relationship and she didn't want her son growing up thinking that was normal, and so she wanted to be really proactive about intentionally making sure he had that one-on-one time to learn those sort of things, because they had another daughter at home.
It's a baby.
Yeah. So you don't always get that time, and you don't always remember to give the lesson during the time when you've got all those kids there. I don't know, maybe it's just me who sort of goes over my head a bit, is it?
Well, I guess, I don't know if we're almost running out of time, but you have 3 girls.
Yes.
How can you instill in them similar values? Because I guess you're talking about the lady who was obviously not treated very well, and so she's trying to teach her son. But how can we teach our girls to expect to be treated in a certain way? Do you think that's important as well?
Absolutely, and I am lucky and blessed that they have a dad who opens the doors for them and does all those things, and they're sort of learning that that's a normal sort of relationship. And they have a mum who's, you know, a bit of a feminist, and they're like, "Mum, can I do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can. You're a girl." You know, just depends what you do in the home, eh? Okay, well, safety first, they say. Let's check out these handy home hacks. that tennis ball one there. That would have helped. We got a few bruises on the head.
I might have to go do that when I get home.
Oh, they just get at the right height. There's a certain point you're like, oh! Anyway. Writer Annie Dillard says, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. And when you're a kid, those days can be pretty fun. Life's peachy. But as an adult, are you happy with your current role? Think back to your childhood days for a moment. Do you remember what you wanted to be when you grew up? And did you end up heading down that path? Melody, I'm throwing this to you. Do you remember what you wanted to be? Because I watched something the other day and someone wanted to be a mermaid doctor. You know?
Is that a mermaid who's a doctor or a doctor who is for mermaids?
I can't rightly say. But do you remember?
I wanted to be a policewoman, actually.
Did you?
Which is very, very different from editing a magazine, I guess.
Law and order, girl.
Right up to high school. In high school, we had this extracurricular activities where you could join a group, and then so the group had they called the police cadet corps. So I had uniforms and everything else.
Wow.
That was going on.
Wait, sorry, how old were you when you wanted to be a policeman?
Right up till I was 18.
Wow, so you held that dream for a while.
But I liked writing too, and writing, and I'm lazy.
So what made you decide against it? Like, what ended up? Too difficult.
I'm not going to chase down that robber.
That might be your second career, the second half
That's
of life.
right. See, a lot of people will have 5 different careers in their lifetime. Well, 5 to 7, the statistics are a bit different on that, and about, up to 17 different jobs. So, the door's open to change if you want to. Mary Ellen, do you remember, was there a time when you were like 4 or 5 and you sort of had an idea of what you wanted to be?
Oh, yeah. I think it was always the same, and I always just wanted to be an artist.
An artist.
And I would spend hours and hours and hours just drawing and painting. And I think at about age 8, I actually entered a colouring in competition. It was in the newspaper, and I ended up winning a computer for myself. It was my first ever. I know, it was amazing. I wish they did that for adults, but anyway.
But you're really good. I've seen your stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And so, I always wanted to do that, but I guess, growing up, I was sort of told that's not really not the most stable job option available, so you should do something more secure and practical.
So what are you doing now? How different? Because you're still doing art, aren't you?
I do it in my spare time a lot.
Okay.
I started off in a course of psychology law. I'm still studying psychology law, but I just ended up changing to media, and the more I progress, the more creative everything becomes. So who knows what the future holds, but I have a feeling it'll probably end up being something arty.
You'll show them all wrong. Yeah.
She can't escape her calling.
I can't escape.
Should we be asking kids at such a young age, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you think that puts any pressure on them?
I think it lets them dream, just to start exploring and what does that person do, and start exploring, some of those skills. I think let kids dream. I love hearing about mermaid doctors. I mean, they probably might come up with a profession we've never heard of before.
But that's the thing, exactly, because right now we're at this cusp of the time, right, where there will be jobs that don't even exist, that we don't even know what
Exactly.
exists.
That's what they say. Kids who are starting kindy now will be coming out of high school, and there'll be jobs that are not around today, which is amazing.
What's interesting is with the digital space, so many kids are able to work now. So many of them are entrepreneurs. They have channels, they're creating products. So many of them are already entering the job force a lot earlier, I think, than they were before.
With their businesses.
Are you frightened that AI is going to sort of take over jobs?
I don't
in the
think
future,
so.
like artificial intelligence?
I am.
I think there's special connections that humans have that a robot will never be able to replace.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what are they going to do with all these people if we're out of jobs? Like, come on, the government can't let us go down that road, surely.
We'll see.
Well, it's interesting what you wanted to be. Like, I remember and I think the interesting question to ask kids is why you want to be that, because often we're influenced by what's around us. Like when I was young, I wanted to be a marine biologist and swim with dolphins because we'd been to SeaWorld. So there's lots of things that you can explore with your kids. If you have any thoughts you want to share on our Facebook page, go right ahead. Let us know what your kids want to be. Maybe it's an animal. Right, well, if I don't know if Olive is dreaming of being a chef, but she is here making a great start with her mum, Gia, in the kitchen. Today, they are whipping up some dairy-free mayonnaise for us.
Okay, so we are going to make another Revive special. It's a mayonnaise, but it's a dairy-free mayonnaise. So if anyone in your family has any type of dairy intolerant, lactose intolerant, this mayo is the best for salad dressing, for your sandwiches, for dipping your chips in with our sweet chili sauce, which you'll find on our website. And so this is made with tofu, so you're getting protein while you're at it. It's just firm, 2 cups of firm silken tofu. And then it's 5 tablespoons of lemon juice. So fresh lemon juice, Lots of vitamin C. I don't know if it was a good idea putting soap in that. Anyway, so we got 1 tablespoon of seeded mustard. So this is going to give some awesome flavour to it. Seeded mustard, oh, when they burst in your mouth, love it. Okay, so 1 tablespoon of date puree. Remember, the date puree is on our website as well. It's at onthetabletv.com, so please go and see the recipes there. Easy, healthy recipes for your family. I like just making healthy easy. So we've got 1 teaspoon of salt in here, and I've got 1 clove of garlic in here as well. And that's all you need. That's the whole lot. And then you blend it. Okay, and then you blend it until it's really smooth, okay? Let's blend. Okay, no joke, but it tastes very close to the real thing. Especially, so people that are trying to lose weight or trying to eat stuff that's cholesterol free, lower your cholesterol, whatever it might be, this is very close to the real deal. So, what can I pour it into? I might just grab a jar. Here. Yep. I've got a jar. Oh no, it's a bubble monster. Just kidding. Come on, come back up. Look at this. Look at this mayo. That is awesome. Salad dressing. Remember, tofu does go off, so you can't keep it in your fridge more than 5 days. Well, I wouldn't personally. If you've got an air-sealed type container or jar, you could probably leave it in there for just over 5 days. But try this recipe. Tell me what you think. Follow us on Facebook, The Table TV Show. See you soon.
Thanks, Gia and Olive. Well, it's never too early to start forming healthy habits, and today's free giveaway book is going to help you do just that. U-Turn will help you understand the facts behind the health outcomes we see in our lives and offers a whole lot of handy practical tips to maximise your health and your quality of life and your longevity. To get a hold of your free copy, yes, I did say free copy, all you need to do is email us at hello@thetabletv.com, or if you'd prefer, you can give us a call in Australia on 1300 300 389, and for our New Zealand viewers, it's 0800 694 673. All we're going to need from you is just your name, your postal address, and the name of today's free book giveaway, U-Turn. We know that newborns grow quickly in their first year, and sometimes it seems like they need a whole new wardrobe every month or 2 or 3, which can be a costly affair even when buying from the cheaper shops. Well, our guest today is a firm believer in sustainable growth and development and is the founder and owner of circular economy business Numidan, and helps families share and reuse baby clothes and make sure that they're only disposed of when they need to be. Daniel Harvey, thanks so much for joining us here today at the table.
Thank you.
What you're doing is sort of a little bit different and a little bit new, but I want to hear it in your words. How exactly does your business work?
Sure. So basically, the household pre-orders a subscription pack from my site, usually a couple of months in advance, sort of around their due date. I then send the first pack, which contains the newborn size and the 0 to 3 month size. The household uses that for as long as they need. They pay a monthly fee. When the baby's close to outgrowing the clothes, they notify me. I send them the next size up. As soon as they get the new size, they send the outgrown clothes back to me in a prepaid satchel.
So that's how it's
that
sort
I've
of
included.
reused, and you then will send that on to someone else.
I then clean that and then send it on to someone else.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
The cleaning process,
cleaning bit.
because babies eat well, and I'll speak for my own kids, they
Yes.
ate well and they released well.
Yes.
So,
True.
that can be a bit awkward. Do people have
It-
any sort of uncomfortability using clothes that have been used before?
Look, there is a hand-me-down culture which exists.
Yep.
It is a concern, but I will guarantee that the clothes are clean and look good when I send them out next.
Daniel,
Which is important. Yeah.
we all have questions.
I was just wondering, how old is
Sure.
it? Do you provide clothes for?
So I've only got up until 6 months at the moment, but I will be expanding to probably up until 2 years.
Oh, wow.
2 years of age, yeah.
Well, between 0 and 6 months is when they just like, it's
through
not
it.
Well, that's
every
when-
month, it's like every other week.
Correct. Correct.
They don't have a lot of wear and tear on it at that age, you know. So as they
True.
start to get older and crawl, there's probably more wear and tear on it.
Correct.
So what's the inspiration for your business? Like it makes a lot of sense. We all hand down clothes, but like what made you start it and why are you passionate
Sure.
about it?
So I used to work in the waste management sphere, and I was doing market research and insights, and I used to come across all these stats suggesting we've got an issue with textiles going into landfill, like 500,000 tons of textiles and leather end up in landfill in Australia every single year. So we've got an issue. And then obviously I had a cousin that was born and he outgrew his clothes super quickly. And then I said, well, what happens to these clothes? Eventually it's going to end up in the ground. So I said, taking these two ideas together, pairing them up, I'm going to set up this business.
Yeah, I think it's honestly such a fantastic idea, and you know, I'm fairly environmentally conscious myself, so props to you. It's so good.
Thank you.
My question is, so I know, you know, if I was to have a baby, I would want to dress it in, you know, like pretty clothes and things like that.
Yeah.
How much interest have you actually had in this initiative, and like, have you been able to sort of convince parents to use it? Because you know, dressing your baby in your own clothes is something that's nice, right?
Of course. So I've sort of designed it as like a skeleton pack.
Okay.
So it still allows for gifts, and if the household wants to buy a few special pieces to keep there.
So how many items are in a pack then?
So I've got two options. One is 11 items and one is 22 items.
Yeah.
So tell me about these clothes. Do you buy them from somewhere or do you design them? Like
So I had my own label produced essentially. So it's my own designs, my own
very
logo.
cool.
So you can't go in and buy these clothes anywhere essentially.
and so are they, well, ethically sourced and organic cottons, or what kind of materials?
So at the moment it's 100% cotton. And yeah, I had to make sure that obviously the factory and the processes were good.
Okay.
So who are the mothers who are really like excited about this? Is it women like Mary Ellen who are super environmentally conscious and they just want to have this baby who's also becoming environmentally conscious as well? Or
Yeah, it seems to be a mix of being conscious for the environment, but also like an economical point of view that yes, the baby will be outgrown of these clothes soon, and what are we going to do with it? Things are getting more expensive, so.
Actually, I was just curious because I think I read somewhere that you're not married, you don't have children.
Correct. I'm single. I don't have kids.
Hello there.
Exactly.
And you design baby clothes. How do you get your inspiration?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I'm passionate about obviously the environment and doing good for the earth and you know everyone. So that's the push.
And what sort of feedback have you had from parents in using this?
Look, they love the designs. They love the quality. They said the quality is really good. It cleans well.
Beautiful.
And they've really enjoyed
And what's your website? Where can people have a look?
So people can go to www.numidan.com.au.
Awesome.
And we're all over Facebook, Instagram.
What a great idea. Thank you so much.
you.
We'd love you to stick around for our
Yeah,
next topic.
sure,
It's sort of related, so I'd love to hear what you have to
Sure.
say. Well, do you recognise the name Ann Donovan? Many people won't, but she's an innovator who significantly impacted the daily parenting of most mums and dads since the 1960s. She developed the first disposable nappy, and millions of time-poor parents and carers have sung her praises ever since, and even if they don't know her name. But now with the war on plastic bags and the push to save our planet, will there come a time when we ban the invention that Australians spent $984 million on most years? Heck, that's a lot. We hear a lot about the ban on plastic and we're getting stricter guidelines from the government and from organisations. But is anyone hearing anything about disposable nappies?
I've heard some things about sort of women's products, tampons and pads and that sort of thing, but I haven't heard anything about nappies, and I'm not really sure why.
you're saying them banning them or just...
Yeah. Well, if we're going down the road of banning plastic and we're sort of going to get more serious about it, when's this coming?
I don't know if anybody dares to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you meant just like, you know...
The conversation
The conversation, not actually banning.
Okay,
things like that.
Any cloth nappy users here? Yep. I did, part-time. I honestly couldn't. I wouldn't know how to say goodbye to the disposable nappy, and I feel really bad about that because it was just so darn helpful.
Yeah, I never even really thought much about it. It just kind of seemed like the thing. And I think I've only become more environmentally conscious from being on the show. I didn't necessarily think about a lot of things before. And I do feel a bit of guilt when I'm changing Jacks. I do think if legislators are going to ban that, they should come to my house and help me change my child. Like, they help me wash the nappies. But, you know, I get the reason behind it. As I've gone to the store even this past week, I've forgotten about the ban. So I'll go to put my stuff in the plastic bag and there's no bag. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But I do, I've seen like photos on Facebook with whales swallowing, 80 bags of plastic and them dying and being, so we obviously are having a horrible impact on our planet, and we do need to all be more responsible about what are we going to do about it. So I'm all for, if that's what needs to happen, I would use cloth nappies.
Yeah, and disposable nappies are actually quite bad. They take a long time. Like, not as bad as plastic bags to break down, but it's
It said 500 years or something to break down as the
up to
estimated
1,000. And Daniel, what do you sort of feel we can do about waste management in this area? Like, if you're sort of into this sort of thing?
Yeah, well, like I feel like it definitely is a problem.
Yeah.
But a lot of people can't really quantify the issue or see the issue. So I think maybe a bit more explanation on how it breaks down and how long it takes and what the alternatives are, just to make it clearer for people.
Yeah, awareness.
Some of my issue with it that I've having a conversation with my husband about is that we're putting the onus on the consumers. I think the onus should be on the manufacturers, because as they're developing these products, they know how long it's going to take to degrade, and like they understand it. So they should be the ones who should have the pressure to not be creating these types of products. They should be creating products that are more environmentally friendly.
I totally
But
agree.
we're talking about manufacturers
I was gonna say,
who
and
are
yet
more
they
concerned about the bottom line.
They still go for the dollar.
But I'm saying the legislators could put more pressure on them instead of making us watch Facebook videos about whales that are on the beach swallowing all of these plastic bags and then going back to say we don't want that type of product. It's like a backward system, I think.
In a sense, but we're the ones buying it.
But they're putting it out there so they know at the initial creation phase.
But as we boycott it and they lose money, they'll hopefully change. So I guess I get your point there, definitely.
Yeah, I guess boycotting's a little bit tricky, only because, and I think back to disposable nappies, only because it's so convenient, and I'm not sure how there's people who would give it up. So do you know what I mean?
Actually, Melody, I was curious because I've read, various mums that don't find it a hassle at all to just wash, 20 nappies a day or something. Has that been a problem for you?
I don't find it a hassle at
No?
all. Like,
Wow.
I do part-time use disposable as well, because when I'm out and about, the hassle that I find is I can't take 20 cloth while I'm going out. So that's when I switch to disposables. But at home and stuff like that, it's not a hassle at all. So.
And I think the trick is for time-poor parents, that's also a challenge for them as well. So everyone's got to walk their own journey, and we're going to be influenced by lots of different things, but hopefully we can all start to walk in the same direction. If you've got any ideas, jump onto our Facebook and let us know. Thanks so much for joining us, Daniel. We really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks.
Ladies, thank you. It's always a pleasure having you here. You've been great. And thanks so much to you for watching. We've enjoyed having you with us. If you want anything to say, jump onto our social media and let us know. We will see you next time. Bye.